Hi, I'm Malcolm.
And I'm Rachel. We're two Canadians living on our 39-foot mainship trawler, living an adventure of a lifetime. We invite you to follow along as we travel 6,000 miles through Canadian and U.S. waterways around America's Great Loop. Good morning. We're just departing from Little Cave Cay, a really nice anchorage that we stayed at last night. And we were waiting for first light, and as soon as we got it, we were up getting the anchor up, and you can see the sun is just rising now, and it's a beautiful morning. So all three of us are on our way. Our most challenging part today will be across or going along Little Abacos Island, and there will be some open areas to the Atlantic, and we are expecting waves possibly 4 to 6 feet in height. At least that's the forecast, and we've never really dealt with those before, but I think they are hopefully swell and several seconds apart, so we'll see how that looks. We have a couple of options to stop somewhere if we need to, but we have a bit of anticipation for today. Anyway, it looks like a really nice morning now. We're on our way, all three boats, and I hope you're having a great day too.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up to speed. I'm going to do a dig up what's going on autopilot. Yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm just going to wait for you.
So far it's been a really good trip, and the waves are much less than we anticipated based on forecast. So this is kind of like going across a big lake. The waves are really low, and it's making it much easier. We can have our front window open right there, so we have a nice breeze coming in through the front without the sun covers there. The sun is streaming in, and it's warm-ish, but with the window open it feels very comfortable. So we're going along today around Little Abacos, and then up towards Great Abacos Island, towards Green Turtle Cay, or Cay rather, and so far it's really good. I think when we get farther along to where there's an opening directly out to the Atlantic Ocean, there may be some quite large swell, but we're hoping that the period is quite long, so it won't be a huge issue for us. But so far today is turning out a lot better than we originally thought it would be. So fingers crossed that it continues like this. It's actually really neat to see these little dots of islands as we go along. And those are obviously protecting us from any swell as well. So I'm going to show you some of that. How are you finding the journey so far?
So far, this is the flattest we have had it in the Bahamas.
I agree. It's super calm.
No
and don't
doubt.
want to jinx it though.
Yeah, let's not jinx it. I mean, we're going to come around a corner here in a minute, and we're going to have the full force of the strait. But it's it's really very calm at the moment. We're over 2 or 3 hours into it. We have 2 hours and 40 minutes left to go, and so far so good. I see a little bit of swell coming in now, but let's hope it stays this way. I'm hoping that the weather buoy reports that we're seeing are actually for the outside Atlantic, not the inside protected waters.
Yeah.
So if that's the case,
Yeah, it should be a lot better. I think we're actually over 3 hours though. I think we're over halfway. We're at almost after 10 now, so that's like 3 hours in.
Yeah, so let's hope this one goes in the wind column.
Yeah.
As far as a prediction of weather that didn't materialize and was in our favor.
Perfect.
Let's hope that's the way it goes.
Love it. We passed by some of the openings out to the Atlantic Ocean. As anticipated, we are experiencing a bit more swell, but it's not anywhere near what we thought it would be. We still might get some more as we turn the corner, as we go over towards Grand Abacos Island. But so far, so good. The beam is definitely not where you want to have the waves. The boat will, do this a lot more. So it's not terrible though right now. It's pretty low. And I imagine some of the waves are bouncing off the other island that we're going along beside, so it's a little bit sort of confused, but really it's not bad at all. We can still walk around pretty comfortably. I'm up on the flybridge now, just taking a look around, and you can see behind me, it's kind of the opening between some islands out to the Atlantic Ocean, and maybe a little far for you to see, but there are some definitely big rollers there crashing into the rocks that are located right in that opening. So some of those waves make their way into here, but most of them I think are stopped by those rocks that are underwater, just out there in the opening. Might be hard to see from here, but you can definitely see when there's an island. If I turn like that, I think you can see the island. And then beside it, there's sort of like, you'll see little white, what looks like little white caps, but they're actually big rollers rolling in. Just a little while ago, Malcolm saw a huge, huge turtle swimming in the water. I wish I had some notice that it was coming, and he obviously saw it when it was behind the boat as he was looking at his fishing rod, but wow, it was enormous. I would say probably like 3 feet long and just swimming out there in the water. So there's got to be a lot of turtles around here. We've got to see some more somewhere, but that was really neat to see that. There. We're in full sun today, so I'm going to use the power of the sun to cook some lunch. I made some pizza dough and I'm just going to put some toppings on. So we've got our pizza there, with some chicken sausage that's Italian flavored, and spinach, peppers, and olives, and now some mozzarella. The color of the water here when the sun comes out is absolutely stunning. It almost doesn't look real. Another thing we've seen quite a lot of recently in our dinghy and also just coming along here is flying fish, or it could be needlefish that are going across the water. We've seen both, but it has escaped me getting it on film. So it's really neat to see though. They will go really far. Yesterday we went to a beach and we went along in the dinghy, and if you're going at a little bit of speed, I guess it catches them off guard and they just leap out of the water and they just go right along. It's kind of funny to watch. There's an opening just over there directly out to the Atlantic Ocean, and we're noticing now that we're getting quite a lot more motion in the water. Some swell and I guess more waves and definitely more wind. So we know we're going to have a lot more motion in the boat. So it's still a lot less than what we had anticipated, which is great, but at least we were prepared for worse and can probably hopefully handle this. I did take a little gravel this morning. Malcolm did too, just in case, but we haven't really, probably didn't really need to, but it's just good to be prepared just in case, I guess. It didn't make me overly sleepy though. Like the other time I had a little nap. I think I took a whole one. This time I just took a little, like a quarter piece, just enough to take the edge off. But I haven't felt bad at all. And it is interesting to see on the island beside us here, we're going along, I think it's Great Abacos Island, that you can see some of the destruction from the hurricane that went through in 2019. The trees are kind of stripped, but I guess it'll take some time for it to all regrow. About 12:30, and we are arriving at almost high tide. I think high tide was at around 11. And to get into Black Sound, which is where the marina is, where we're going, called Donnie's, we need to be in pretty much mid to high tide to be able to get into the bay. And it is a landlocked mooring or marina, which means that it is going to be very well protected from a big blow we're getting in a couple, I think it's tomorrow night actually. Today's Friday, going to have it Saturday night into Sunday. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know we're arriving into Green Turtle Cay, and I'm not sure I'll be able to take a picture as we come in because I have to catch a mooring ball, but I'll show you once we get in. We've arrived at Donnie's Marina on Green Turtle Cay around 1:15 p.m. We did 43 nautical miles. It took us, I think, just over 6 hours, and it was actually a really good ride. It was very comfortable, no issues with big waves like we thought. So we've arrived here, we're just washed down the boat, and we're going to rent a couple of golf carts and zip around and have a look at the town that's nearby here. So we're very happy to be here. We're going to stay here for a whole week. Be able to explore quite a few places around here. After the American War of Independence ended in 1783, people who wanted to remain loyal to Britain left North America and settled in the Bahamas, which was a British colony. Some 6,000 American loyalists and their slaves settled in the Bahamas. These loyalists brought with them influences as well as the cultures of their slaves who accompanied them. The American Civil War in the 1860s brought prosperity to the Bahamas, which served as a transfer point for munitions and medical supplies to be run through the northern blockade of Confederate ports. Going for a walk to the beach. I think it's called Gillies Beach, and the path along here has one part where there's all sorts of like pieces of construction and like an old boat flipped upside down. This is obviously some of the destruction from Hurricane Dorian in 2019. It's very sad to see. Hurricane Dorian hit the Bahamas on September 1st, 2019 as a Category 5 hurricane, causing flooding and mass destruction on the northwest islands of Abacos and Grand Bahama. The storm pummeled the islands for 48 long hours before finally moving away. 74 people lost their lives and 281 people were missing. It caused about $3.4 billion of damage, 1/4 of Bahamas' GDP, and was the most powerful and catastrophic cyclone to hit the Bahamas, with winds peaking at 185 miles or 295 kilometers per hour, and a 23-foot storm surge. The main airport terminal in Grand Bahama was destroyed. Roads were littered with debris and downed trees. Fuel and freshwater supplies were limited. Reaching the islands was incredibly difficult, even for first responders and emergency personnel. The Abaco Islands were the hardest hit, suffering 87% of the damage. Many Bahamians are still displaced. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, recovery continues as best it can. They continue to rebuild and recover, and tourism has returned. We saw some rebuilding, but also, sadly, many abandoned homes. Bunch of coconuts, and we're squishing them on our seat so we can take them back to the boat.
Coconut milk for days.
Yeah.